Welcome back to Taking a Hill. I'm Patrick Murphy. The headlines this week were shocking. First, we had 3 Americans killed in Afghanistan. And in an investigation by the Arizona Republic, it alleged that as many as 40 veterans died while waiting for treatment at the Phoenix VA healthcare system. The paper reports that patients were deliberately kept off waiting lists for appointments so the VA could appear to be providing care quicker than it actually was. The Department of Veterans Affairs issued a statement on Wednesday that reads, in quote, "We take any allegations about patient care or employee misconduct very seriously, which is why the department invited the Inspector General to complete a comprehensive review. These allegations, if true, are absolutely unacceptable, and if the Inspector General's investigation substantiates these claims, VA will take swift and appropriate action." Joining me now is Congresswoman Kyrsten Sinema from Arizona and Dr. Tommy Sowers, a retired Green Beret who recently joined the Duke University faculty after serving as Assistant Secretary at the VA. Both of you, thank you so much for joining me. This phantom list at the Phoenix VA, Congresswoman, you demanded some answers this week. Share with us about your letter to the Secretary Shinseki.
Well, thanks, Patrick. You know, earlier this week when I heard about the news of the allegations at the Phoenix Veterans Affairs Hospital, I sent a letter to Secretary Shinseki requesting a thorough investigation by the VA OIG, the Inspector General, requesting a briefing for the entire Arizona delegation next week when we return back to Congress. I've also asked for a complete hearing in the House Veterans Affairs Committee and the participate. You know, Patrick, if these allegations are true, if any part of them are true, the circumstances are incredibly immoral, unconscionable, and frankly un-American. You know, Patrick, I got a call on Thursday morning from the parents of Daniel Summers. He's a veteran who committed suicide in my district last summer, and his parents think he might be one of the 40 that were mentioned in the report by Dr. Foote last week. So this is critically important that we get to the bottom of this and hold those accountable for their misconduct.
Thanks, Congresswoman. Dr. Sowers, you were at the VA, you were Assistant Secretary. I know you're not there any longer, but share with us the process moving forward with these allegations and what would happen within the system.
Well, first off, as a veteran and as a veteran that uses the VA, you know, I'm outraged by these reports and allegations. And there can, should, and will be a full both internal investigation and external investigation. I mean, the veterans that use the VA and the dedicated employees of the VA care for veterans, they want accountability here. They want to make sure that if there was wrongdoing, that they're held accountable. But more than that, just like we did in the military, to make sure that lessons are learned and they're spread across the entire VA. I mean, the troubling part about these reports is I watched some of the reports, and they implied a systematic issue with the VA, and that is just patently false. The VA is not just a good system of care, it's a great system of care. But an issue that comes into play is that veterans either don't know about the VA or just hear these reports and don't come in to earn the benefits that they're entitled to because of their service.
Yeah. Congresswoman, I know you're demanding to get briefed, the whole Arizona delegation. Right. What do you want to hear from the VA when you go back to Washington this week?
Well, Patrick, I quite simply want the truth. You know, these allegations have been continuing for several months, although we haven't learned about them until recently. It appears that there may be some physical evidence that there was a pattern and a procedure to lie and hide the amount of time that veterans are waiting to get appointments. You know, I've co-sponsored legislation to require the VA to set a standard of 30 days, that every vet who seeks care gets their first appointment within 30 days. The reality is that many vets in Arizona are waiting much longer than that. And Patrick, I have to tell you, if a vet is waiting more than 2 weeks, they should call my office because we're going to fight to fix this. What I want to hear from the Veterans Affairs Office, from Secretary Shinseki all the way down, is the truth about what's been happening and swift action to rectify the problem, and perhaps most importantly, swift action to hold those who've engaged in misconduct accountable for their actions, to make sure that no more veterans in Arizona are facing these kinds of unacceptable wait times that potentially have led to increased disease and in some cases potentially death.
And Congresswoman, the report shows that this phantom list, maybe up to 1,400 veterans on this phantom list, not in the system. If this is true, and again, this is an allegation, if this investigation is true, do you think this is criminal negligence?
Absolutely. I mean, To treat the individuals who have sacrificed so much and who have defended this flag and our freedoms overseas and in this country, to treat them with this level of disrespect and dishonesty is absolutely unconscionable. Individuals must be held accountable, and the accountability must run to the entire level of those who engaged in misconduct. I'm actively seeking answers to these questions, and Patrick, it's unfortunate that it's taken this level of allegation to get answers, but we have to get those answers, and we have to get changes at the Phoenix VA.
I could not agree more with you. Dr. Sowers, let me step back here and an overview of the system. What effect do you think this will have on veterans nationwide?
Well, you know, Patrick, one thing that we know is less than half of veterans out there utilize the VA. And even in Maricopa County in Arizona, only 43% of veterans use the VA. And they'll see this report, and many veterans will think that that is emblematic of the entire system of care. And again, the VA is rated externally for customer satisfaction, for outcomes, for low levels of medical malpractice. It is a very, very good system of care. These allegations, though, are serious. They can, should, and will be investigated, and those that are accountable should be held accountable. Yeah,
especially when you look at nationwide, 22 veterans commit suicide every day. We need to be encouraging veterans to go use the VA system to make sure.
Absolutely, and I mean that number itself is a tragedy, but the real tragedy is 17 of those 22, we estimate, have never sought VA health care. They haven't come to the 1,700 sites of care. They haven't called the Veterans Crisis Line. All the resources that are out there, we've got to be doing doing better outreach, and we need to make sure the veterans get what they earn through their service.
Yep. Dr. Sowers, thank you very much. Congresswoman, we expect a report back this week. We want to make sure that we're on top of this, and I will tell you that whoever known or should have known about if this is true, we'll make sure we're on this like a bulldog on a bone, and we'll keep highlighting your efforts. So thank you so much, both of you.
Thank you, Patrick.
For joining us. Coming up, the latest installment of Wounded, the Battle Back Home. And we introduce you to the 2013 NFL Tillman Military Scholar in our new segment, We Salute You. That's what's next on Taking the Hill.
I've always had to keep my eye on her, but I didn't always watch out for myself. With so much noise about